As you're watching this video, you should probably already have Abyss available in the game for ranked, but I would like to talk about Abyss at a professional level, at the VCT level. So in this video, I'm gonna do a tier list of which agents I think are the best to be played on this map when you're a pro team. And let's see if it actually pans out well after we have some established metagame on this map in a few months. So we'll rewatch it and then, react to it, I guess. Today's episode is sponsored by Elgato. Go to elgato.com for the newest hardware for streamers, use the link from the description below and the code for 5% off. Thank you Elgato for sponsoring the stream. Alright, let's start with controllers, because without controllers you can't really do a set plan on how to play around the map at a pro level. This is why you see very specific metagames on maps like Breeze and Icebox would require you to play Viper and maybe then a second controller to supplement her. And Abyss is a very similar map because it's so huge and the angles are so weird that you have to get a very specific set of skills. So let's jump to the tier list and let's put some of the controllers first and start with them. So let's start with the newest controller that we have is Clove. Clove, I think she's gonna go to the C tier at a pro level because she doesn't really deliver a lot of value. She doesn't have a utility to push a to fight against a push. Essentially, that one grenade just goes away after 2 seconds, and that's essentially it. There's nothing else when it comes to her utility that helps us stop a push, and the only upside of her is actually having access to multiple smokes per round, but literally the same can be said about Omen. So let's talk about Omen, because I think Omen is gonna be the S tier pick on this map, not only because of the smokes having, the ability to be put and almost anywhere on the map, and because of that he has a bigger range than Clove on the map, right? But also his smokes have the same ability to be played multiple times per round. His paranoia is incredibly valuable because it goes through walls. This is like something that is very not to be underestimated on this map, because you're able to do and potentially a full execute with just one paranoia, which checks almost all the angles that you need to cover when it comes to going to site. The same can be said on B, like you can assault the players who are on crucial spots on the B side behind the boxes and affect them. The same goes for the backside of B. Like paranoia is incredibly valuable on this map because, again, angles are very tough to play with on this map, and you can rewatch my guide about smoking out of Abyss that I released like 2 weeks ago, because everything there is still true. So Omen, not only that, good smokes, fantastic paranoia on this map, also has the ability to change levels, right? So he can be playing on top side on A, he can be playing on top side on B, change his position to quickly in different angles without being punished in a lot of cases, right? So that's very important aspect. Now, another controller, let's say Brimstone. Brimstone typically is heavily underrated, and I think, this is my own opinion, he's gonna be on A tier. He has the same range as Clove, but he has incredible util on this map. His molly is the best util piece to stop an actual push through the A choke point, right? His ultimate covers a lot of ground over here, gets you guaranteed kills essentially on someone on a rope on A. It can get you guaranteed kills also on top mid, or at least gain this space very easily, because mid is such a crucial piece of this puzzle when it comes to attacking on this side, on this map, and it's just an incredible tool overall. There's a lot of post-plant possibilities as well on this map, so that's not to be underestimated, right? When you have a plant on B, like for example here, you can literally shoot through walls from this position over here. Like you can just stand right here and shoot with a Vandal or a Phantom towards the spike and kill people. So that's something you can do the same for the plant over here. That is incredibly valuable, and combine that with a lot of piece of utility that you can have on a Brimstone, and suddenly it's almost unwinnable to just do something in post plant, right? So for me, Brimstone is on A. His Steam Beacon is incredibly valuable for attack and defense because it either makes you faster rotate, which I personally hate, but also it's so valuable during retakes when you can boost your entire team and have a better coordinated attack with higher speed, right? So for me, he's on A, although I think that most teams will probably avoid using him because of other agents that will probably easier fit to their game plan. And why? Well, there are other two controllers still that we have to talk about, and two of them, well, actually very powerful. But let's first talk about the one that I think is actually overrated, because people think she's S tier, but I actually think she's B tier, and that's Astra. The only thing that people say about this agent on this map is essentially that she has a global range, and that's true. Astra has a global range on this map, and this map is incredibly big. You have 25 seconds rotations essentially on it. But the problem is that as a primary smoker on this map, you can only use Omen because you have multiple smokes per round, while if Astra wants to use more than 2 smokes per round, then she has to sacrifice either the pull or the stun. So you have to sacrifice the pull because the stun is just a much better piece of utility when it comes to the power level than the pull, at least after the nerf. All right. And the ultimate is just, well, you know, it's nothing special. It's okay. It's good. But it's again, it's just another smoke. At least with Omen, you can have, again, a faster rotation, a flank, unexpected one coming from Omen. It's not also the best ultimate, but he has much better utility to have recurring value during the round, right? And the paranoia is just completely blows everything else out of the water. So I think Astra might be used a lot in the first stages of Abyss at a pro level, but she will be pushed down in some time. I'm assuming that pro teams are going to be like this. They're going to use more Astra than Brimstone. But then if they actually pay attention to what's happening in the games, they're going to just swap out Astra for something else, and probably not going to be Brimstone, because Viper is going to be S tier. She has incredible value on defense. She can have a, again, if you want to watch the guide that I did, you will see that how to do it in game. But essentially you can do an AWP on defense on a choke point, which is the only way of getting onto this side unless you have mobility to go for above the Abyss, right, on the right side here. And then you can do the wall that literally helps you. If I remember, I was doing it from here. Was something like that, if I remember. Oh no, wait, actually I was doing it from mid, so from here. So I was doing it like this. It was helping you controlling the B side, and you were able to stop down a push. It was able to make it controllable when it comes to the pillar location, but it also helps so much with the retake. So you were able to have help on both B side and A side at the same time by one Viper. Of course, you're not gonna use her here on this map as a single controller, as I think most teams will resort to either playing just Omen or 2 controllers at the same time. And it can also be just Omen Viper, for example. But what about Habo? I promise I'm gonna do a guide for Habo on this map, because I do think he's the best controller on this map. Unfortunately, he sucks in general, so you're not gonna see him on ranked. But at a pro level, when there's a lot more coordination and understanding of how to play defense as well, which is the weak point of him, he might actually be incredibly important on this map. And I do think that he is the prime smoker if a team wishes to have a person that is going to be playing him, because it's an incredibly demanding character to play. You can easily mess up your walls by just pixel, and then suddenly your team dies because the wall is not how it should be. It's so hard to play, and he doesn't deliver a lot of value on defense apart from his ultimate. So because of that, he needs to supplement more defense-based utility on other agents. So what I think is going to happen, if teams don't have a specialist of Harbor, we're just going to see Omen Viper. If they do have a Harbor specialist, we might just see Harbor Viper or Harbor Omen. Teams that would like to supplement the defense abilities of, because they play Harbor, might actually go for the Harbor Brimstone, which I personally am a big fan of. Right, and why I also think Harbor is so good on this map is because his cascade is just so strong. It's just so strong when you think about it, because with the cascade, where's the Harbor? Here we go. With the cascade, you're able to push onto B side, onto side from this crucial left hand angle. The cascade which just travels towards the side, gives you so much space. It's like an ISO wall, but actually good, even though you can shoot through it because it's so big. It actually covers the crucial points of this map, which are like, you know, on this map, you have so many points when it comes to like positions on the map that opponent can stand on, and none of them will be covered with just one smoke, but a cascade actually does it because it's so tall, and yet it's moving forward with your scaling towards the side. So incredibly valuable. It's a shame that it only lasts 7 seconds when it reaches the destination, at maximum range, of course. But in general, he is really good. And I'm working on that guide for you guys for Harbor if you would like to learn how to play him. But yeah, at a pro level, I think that's it when it comes to the controllers. So now let's go to the next category. Initiators. Yeah, they're gonna be important on this map. Why? Because of snipers. This map is a sniper's heaven. The ability to stand almost anywhere on this map cannot be understated when it comes to like the freedom that a sniper will have, specifically also when you have mobility on your agent. Like, again, smokes cannot cover every single angle. And if smokes cannot cover every angle that an operator can stand on, what do you need? Right. You need initiators, you need recon, or you need flashes. You need utility pieces that will push away the operator players, the outlaw players from actually getting any value. That's why initiators, we might actually end up in compositions that will have 2, maybe 3 initiators, just as the teams realize that they have to use so much util to make sure that they don't die to snipers. But that's probably gonna be down the line. Most common, of course, will be just 1 initiator, but I think it's gonna be rough to actually have that effect being effective in the game. So we might actually see combinations of like a flash initiator with a flash duelist, but we also need recon, so we might supplement that with a Sky. So I'll put the Sky right now on the B tier. She's gonna be playable, but not superb, let's say efficient enough to be a solo initiator. She can be played, but you probably will need someone to supplement the flashes, or at least the recon to some degree, depending on how you want to play at a pro level, right? So you either go with a duelist who can have some like initiation tools as well, like Race, for example, or you go for another flash agent like a Yoru, for example, right? So maybe some mad teams will go for Phoenix, who knows? But in general, Sky here, incredibly useful, but not as powerful. And to like signal or like showcase how big of a nerf was it when she got the cooldown deleted from her flash, is if she would have had a flash on a cooldown, I would have actually put her to S tier. Just that one change would have made her so much more valuable, but you only have 2 flashes. So yeah, go back to B tier. Now next initiator, I think a little bit stronger than Sky is gonna be KO. KO because he delivers the value of just absolutely countering many agents on this map. I'm thinking Chamber, I'm thinking Killjoy, I'm thinking like any kind of race players, Jet to some degree as well. You're able to just destroy the util that is being used right now. Gecko and Sova also absolutely hate good KO players because their utility, like the drone, like the ult, can be negated with just your dagger. Not even the ultimate from KO, just the dagger, right? So he can be pretty useful. There's when it comes to the lineups on this map, I'm actually gonna do a short about it. There's a lot of possibilities when it comes to lineups. You can use the dagger lineups that are just jumping onto site. You can use a lineup that is not destructible to affect the players on rope because it lands on the rooftop. You can almost cover the entire B side with 1 dagger that is also very hard to destroy. Like, there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to having an effect with it, and information gathering as well, because you can cut a piece of the map with just the dagger and put it in a way that you'll always know exactly which area is gonna get tagged, so you get informations, essentially like a recon, right? And again, grenade, fantastic tool to just be in pulse blend or checking a corner, although that's not that important on this map, right? Because like essentially it's an open map, so the corner checking is not that important. His flashes are incredibly potent on this map because the left click flashes will be able to support teammates long range with the longer flash. Right click flashes can be good for a personal like pushes with through smokes, because teams will most likely, again you can watch the guide, but I think teams will actually go towards like aggressive smokes like this one. Right, this is attacking smoke, and you're gonna like pop flash through it. You can have an aggressive smoke over here, you can pop flash through it as well. Like that's gonna be one of the key pieces of an aggression and scaling up on the map. So KO goes to the second place on the B tier, but better than Sky in my eyes, because he's a little bit more aggressive and counter heavy rather than just well-rounded like Sky. Also, don't forget, I do hate healing in this game. I think it's a waste of a slot. So essentially Sky has only 2 pieces of utility and an ultimate, while KO has all 3. Right, so that's why I value him a little bit more. Now, next initiator, let's go for Breach. I think Breach is phenomenal. I think Breach is fantastic on most maps, heavily underrated, and right here he's gonna be also massive because his stun is gonna be a crucial piece of support. And again, same case as with Paranoia, you're able to support players so much on this map with this stun. Look, you can help getting mid control by going into A main, right? You can be like so flexible when it comes to those positions. You can do the same even if you come to B main. Like those possibilities right here, like you can angle it this way. Look, you can stand like around here, and you can essentially try to stun both positions at the same time to help your teammates gather that space over here, right? And like going onto B, you're able to stun crucial positions as well. And of course, flashes. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? He's a flash initiator, and those flashes have like a very fast execution timer, which allows you to be more flexible when it comes to the positions. This is a big map, so again, that's very, very useful without selling too many informations about it, because you don't like Skybirds are very telegraphed, and people learn how to play against them. Breach flashes are less telegraphed, although you can hear when they're coming, but they're less telegraphed. So the weakest part of his kit is actually the ultimate. And I know people will be like, but bro, you can kill people with the ultimate when you can knock them down out of the map and so on, when they plant on bridge, for example. No one is gonna be planting on bridge. If someone is gonna be planting on bridge, that means that they are safe, because they know that no one is on site, no one will affect them. So you will not get into this situation at a pro level. But his ult is just look at how massive it is. I don't think it's a good piece of utility because the stun is kind of weak, right, for a Night Orber, but it does give you a lot of space, or like at least getting a lot of informations from it. Like if you're gonna carve out the space with the ult like this, right, then you have to only worry about like your right hand side over here while everything else is taken care of, and you can just go to side. Like it gives you a free execution essentially on the A side. And again, operator players, like they have to be scared of the flashes, and Breach is great for that. Now, next initiator, we're gonna talk about Gecko. Gecko, more versatile than Breach, has a flash that is great against operator players. Recurring theme of this utility pieces, like it's gonna be nice because you can go piece by piece on this map. I think there's not gonna be a lot of 5-man pushes on this map because they're gonna be so easily stopped, at least on A side. B side might be a little bit more affected by that, but in general, Gecko's ability to like flash mid, take it out, pick up the flash again, flash A main, control the orb, pick up the flash again, because both orbs are actually attacker's favorite. One is here and one is here. So Gecko essentially single-handedly allows you to farm those orbs every round, because you can use a wingman to take the first step towards this area. You combine that with the flash, you have easy time getting that orb. You can do the same on B main, and you just pick it up for free. Like you can always put a lineup like this that allows you to pick it up in a safe spot and never be in danger. So Gecko has a lot of potential on attack here when it comes to gathering the orbs and just buffing your ult economy while not losing any resources. And also himself, ability to plant on this map is very similar to Icebox. The plants are so hard. Many people might actually play Icebox. I'm not saying at pro level. Sorry, might play Sage like on Icebox. Maybe not at, I hope not at pro level. But Wingman kind of gives you that 6 men to be sacrificed essentially for that plant spot, right? So we might actually see a lot of geckos at pro level. Now, next one is Fade. Is essentially like kind of a breach, because when you do planning, when it comes to the ultimates, is essentially the same size, so you can have similar plans when it comes to doing executes with this ultimate, right? It's a little bit just longer than the breach ult, but the effect is so powerful, it's insane. It delivers so much synergy. Every single dash agent, every single mobility agent, every single agent that can benefit from the lack of sound of the opponents loves playing with Fades. Recon ability to play around operator players, fantastic. The only weak point of Hell Util is actually the Prowlers, because they cannot really consistently get the people standing on top of A side, for example, or someone on rope, right? So unless of course you discovered them with the eye, so you have the trace that allows you to then use the Prowler. But in general, I think Fade is incredibly strong. But again, remember that many teams will craft their compositions around using 2 initiators together. So I wouldn't be surprised to see combos of like Fade Gecko, Fade KO, or Breach Gecko, Breach KO. Those might be very similar. Sorry, Breach, Breach KO is also pretty decent, I would say. But in general, teams might just use the combos of a Flash Initiator and a Recon Initiator in one team. And because of that, next one is going to be Sova as well, of course. Sova, immense value with the lineups of the arrows. So many spots that you can land them on. And shock darts. Now, I do put Sova on A in front of all of those agents because he's just more popular among pro teams. But I don't personally believe he's stronger than them. He just delivers one more crucial piece of utility that is gonna be not very worthwhile if the metagame will not devolve into playing Sentinels, which is a possibility, and we're gonna talk about that in a moment. But the shock darts will not have value if no Sentinels will be played on this map. But if the metagame will have Sentinels, then his shock darts are incredibly important in breaking utility pieces. So his place on the tier list is kind of dependent on the metagame. Now, Sentinels, he goes here. A lot of Sentinels, he goes here, right? So it really depends. But other than that, again, a good initiator to be paired with something else like KO, Breach, or Sky. Double recon with some flashes, pretty good. But I would just prefer as a team to have Sova Fade or Sova Breach. Sorry, not Fade. Sova Gecko, Sova Breach, Sova KO. Those are the 3 good combos for a pro team to play with. And do I have any other initiator left? No, that's everything. All right, let's jump to the next category. And let's talk about those Sentinels, because I already said to you a little bit, I do think that on this map, we might actually end up with compositions that don't play Sentinels. Why? Well, because it's very hard to get value out of them, at least the most popular ones. Also, some people are telling me, and I had so many opinions online, Deadlock is so good in this map. Guys, Deadlock on defense is good on every map. But Deadlock on attack is absolute ass. Like, she's so bad. It's absolutely incredible. She has like a way worse showstopper as the ultimate and a grenade that, you know how it works, essentially doesn't work. Like, sometimes you're gonna get like a clip out of it because people will be just crouching out in the open, and then someone from a pro player gets a 3k because of it, and everyone will be like, oh my god, grenade is so broken. But people will not remember the moments when the grenade just gets taken off after 1 second, or the person who is affected by the grenade just stands there, gets a kill and doesn't get punished, or gets a kill 1-for-1, and it's like, okay, there's some value here. But if that's gonna be like any agent with mobility, like that like Reyna, like Yoru, like Chamber, you can just TP out, you can just dismiss out, you can, like, yeah, that's gonna have a lot of effect, and you're just standing there, and you don't even give an audio cue because you're just standing there waiting for your opponent to peek you. All right, so yeah, you can guess where she will be. She will be here. She's absolute poop, and I don't think any teams will play her. Even if there will be a Neon meta on this map, she is not gonna be the main source of countering that Neon. The counter to Neon is Cypher. And even if you want to play double Sentinels, you're just gonna play Killjoy or Chamber at the same time. It really doesn't change much. She is not good enough on attack to justify picking her. At pro level, of course, remember, we're talking about VCT here. All right, let's go to the next one. So, Cypher. And everyone is gonna be like, oh bro, Cypher is gonna be S tier. Well, with my opinion about the fact that I do think that Sentinels might actually not be played on this map that much, I will put him on B. Even though he has global range of this, like on the util on this map, the util is not really effective. You don't really have a way of doing unbreakable traps on this map when it comes to defense. There's always going to be an angle to destroy it. So this is not going to be a repeat of history from, for example, Sunset, Breeze, or Ascent on A side, right? You can put unbreakable traps if your opponents don't have utility against it, like a Shock Dart from Sova or Aftershock from Breach. You cannot really destroy it. That's not the case on this map. And also, when it comes to attacking, it's very difficult to make sure that you're not getting flanked. There's so many pathways on this map when it comes to flanking that you can't, like, remember, there's even a rope over here in this spot on this map that allows you to go to spawn without taking the stairs. Like, it's really tough. Like, the best, probably the best spot for trips is gonna be like here. But then again, if you put it too close to this angle, someone can just jump over from the boxes. Like a Neon can just go like and jump over it. Dash, a Jet can just updraft over it as well, like very easily. Probably, sorry, not updraft, just like float. So you have to put the trap over here. But then your teammate, your opponents can just go. So at you. I'm so sorry, guys. Can go close to the trap and just even look into mid, right? It's hard. It's really hard. And remember that opponents can push through B and just go into mid area without being spotted because your trap is like, for example, here. But this is not a good trap. You can jump that. So it's hard. It's hard to be efficient as a Cypher on this map, and because of that, I feel like he's gonna not be that utilized. I think his camera has a lot of value, and his Cypher cages can help with supplementing the controllers, which have a very hard task on this map. But I do think he might be the niche peak, specifically also when ISO, if ISO would have been picked, but he's nerfed, and he was not even good enough even before the nerf. So I don't think it's gonna be a case. Killjoy, right? Killjoy is the agent that I think is gonna be the most used on this map as a Sentinel. If teams will want to pick a Sentinel, I think it's gonna be Killjoy. Now we're gonna ask, but bro, why? Killjoy's not being used on Breeze because the map is so big. Isn't this similar? Well, actually, it is similar. I do agree. She's gonna be an anchor player on a B or A, right? Because that's gonna be her job because of the limited range. So she's not gonna rotate too much. And on attack, actually, she delivers a little bit more certain informations because remember, the turret has infinite range. So when it comes to detecting people, right? So you're going to be able to utilize that turret to have that flank control in a more efficient way than the traps from the Cypher. But the biggest upside of her is actually the ultimate. And I'm going to show you an example. If you put the ultimate over here, which is not breakable from this side, essentially, like if you put it like this, you essentially win the round. If it's planted and your opponents are just staying in main, they cannot really destroy it without some through the walls utility pieces, like Sova ultimate, for example. And this essentially wins you the round. So was that gonna be enough for pro teams to actually start using her? Well, one ult is probably not good enough, but there's a second one, and that's over here. This is literally the same kind of ultimate, and I know this kind of looks like there's a spot over here, but there's actually no spot. You cannot really stand in this position on the window in the post plant, and it's massive. Like, it's so hard to destroy. It's so hard to counter. This one is a little bit easier to counter than the rope room, but it's a massive ult that if you're retaking B or A, you're most likely winning, unless your opponents are saving a crucial piece of ultimate to counter that Killjoy ultimate, right? So Sova ultimate, Brimstone ultimate. That's why Brimstone might be also more often picked. And in general, she's going to be incredibly efficient. She's also incredibly good against ISO, but I don't think that's going to be a factor again. But she's decent against Neon because the turret actually follows the Neon, and even though Neon goes through the nanoswarm, she's still taking massive damage for that. So I think she's pretty decent into the meta game, and those ultimates might be good enough to actually push the professional teams into considering her as a main Sentinel on this map, if they would like to even play any Sentinels. Remember also that, again, this map is very hard to smoke, so your turrets will always have good value. They will always get informations, and they will always even deal some damage because they're gonna be in very peculiar spots on this map. All right, so next one, what do we have? We have Chamber. Bro, but what about Chamber? It has to be just so bad, right? He's so bad. Actually, I do think he's gonna be solely picked on this map if teams realize fast enough that opening on this map is broken. Like, it's giga broken. You can just remember, with this agent you get an additional 1 to 2 operators per half, which is big. And the range of the TPs is actually pretty decent on this map. You can stand on very peculiar off angles on this map without being affected essentially by smokes. And that's why it's so important to play with flashes, with recon, right? So a good Chamber, unchecked, can single-handedly lock down defense over here, right? And look, if he stands if he has this TP on rope room, he can literally push, with help of an Initiator, of course, into the main of A and get all of that control for the entirety of the map. Like, imagine having a player who is just posted here, standing safe, maybe gets complete off angle, like you can be on top of this and just stand like this, look into A main. If you're being posted like that, you gain so much value for the team when it comes to informations. And his ability to build up economy is nothing to be scoffed at. I don't think he's super good. I think he's also decent into Neon because the trap activates when she's running through. But I do think the ability to play on any off angle, on any elevation, having the ability to be safe as well after the initial push and get that punish if the teams don't play efficiently with flashes is gonna be pretty damn good. Now, I don't think that teams will realize that fast unless they actually would like to make a simpler playbook by playing with Chamber, right? So yeah, we're gonna put him at B tier, like playable, pretty good, maybe even very good, depending on how the meta will develop. All right, and Sage, yeah, she goes here. Guys, I'm sorry, but I'll repeat it what I always say about Sage. She has a very similar role here, like on Icebox. On attack, your job is to wall this, like this, try to plant, not die, hopefully not die because your teammates are helping you. Then on this map, sorry, on this side, you wall like this, hope not to die when planting. Like, and then she has slows, and that's it. Heal, non-factor. Ultimate, non-factor. It's not a proactive ultimate that you can use on this map or any map. Like she requires something bad to happen in the first place to get value. I hate agents like that. And I do think, and I'm not sure if you guys remember, but when Lotus was released, I was blasting teams for playing Sage, and I was saying she's absolute poop on this map. She's a waste of a slot, and people should not play her. And I was being told also by pro players and by pro coaches that, let's just say I'm mistaken. They were using harsher words. But I was apparently mistaken. Is she played now? I don't think so. She was played at the beginning of Lotus, and I was scolding teams for that because I knew good teams will never use Sage on that map. They will realize fast that the game doesn't require you to play such a reactive agent, an easy to read agent, at least on attack. On defense, she can have some value because of the off angles. So again, but why play Sage over the Chamber, who will deliver more value with the snipers and also incredible off angles on this map? You don't need the wall for that. So yeah, she goes to the playable but trash tier. Right, like yeah, see. Anyway, and now what everyone waits for, right? Duelists. Let's jump in. Everyone is excited about duelists, right? Which duelist can be played on this map, specific also at the pro level at VCT? Well, let's just start off the bat by saying who will not be played, or at least should not, because teams might use those agents, but I don't think they should. So, ISO. And I would say that even without the nerf. I have this opinion, very strong opinion. I had an argument with Sean Garrish. I'm not an argument, a discussion with Sean Garrish about it. He was a big proponent of saying that ISO is broken and he will be abused in pro play. Well, I had the opinion that he's not good enough. He doesn't have trade denial. And that's the main reason to play those duelists. If you deny trade or you create space, you're good enough to be played at a pro level. He just doesn't have an additional HP buff, but it doesn't deny you trades. If teams are playing well, that ISO dies anyway, right? His value is in his ultimate, but that was always possible. Like getting the Sentinel into the ult is something that always was possible, and somehow people just forgot that it exists because no one was playing ISO. His debuff through walls is incredibly powerful, and that's something that probably would be playable on many maps, but on this one, because you're probably not gonna combo that with Raze. Like you cannot waste 2 slots on this map to play ISO Raze to have some combos and synergy with the damage dealing utility. So he's going bottom tier, D. He's a diesel. He's abysmal. I would never play him on this map in a professional setting. All right, now next one, my personal favorite. All right. Reyna. Yeah, she doesn't go a lot further. She's still, I hate saying this. I feel weird to say that, but I do consider Reyna a better pick than ISO on most maps, but also specific on this one. The blinds from her actually will have value against snipers because they're like, lingering. You have to do something about them. You have to shoot them. Someone else have to shoot them, right? So if an operator is posted and he's the only one person holding that angle, well, that angle is now affected because you have to shoot the eye. So she has the value there. Her dismiss, though, is now broken. Like, the speed that she has, she is the fastest agent in the game while dismissing. It's 12 meters per second. Neon Sprint is 9 meters per second. She is faster than Neon Sprint when she's dismissing. And remember that double binding dismiss when you're playing an operator is not bannable at VCT. I don't think anyone will use that because people didn't listen to me when I said that Stinger was broken. That people didn't listen to me that double binding Stinger is broken. It was. They've fixed that before the pro players actually listened to what I was saying. So yeah, I think, no, not a single team will play her apart from like some outliers. She's just not good enough. The lack of mobility is big problem on this map. You are required to play mobility. So let's talk about another duelist that doesn't have mobility. Phoenix. Why C tier, not D tier? Well, because he has probably the strongest ultimate in the game. 6 orb with, remember, this map is heavy attack orb, shifted, right? You can have both orbs almost every round, so you're able to like ult 5 times with a Phoenix per half. Per attack half. You're able to like ult 5 times. That is incredibly powerful. Has flashes, so he can supplement an initiator who doesn't have flashes. So that's an upside. The problem is he doesn't have mobility, right? His wall is okay of entering A side. His wall is okay. No, actually it's not okay by entering B side, because you have to curve it from the left side. Like, you cannot really do a wall like here, like this, without exposing yourself already, and that's a problem, right? From this side you can always just use the wall like through even the box and just do something with it. Like, I'm not saying this is a good wall, but like something like this would be even decent into getting to this side, right? On B side, not really possible. But yeah, he's just nothing special, but it's okay. All right, now we have 4 duelists. And what do we do with them? What do I think about Raze? Hand nerf? I don't think it's a big issue. I think it's okay. I think she's still very playable. Her satchels are good mobility. They have a lower skill floor and lower skill ceiling because of the nerf, but they're still very efficient. And I think she's well-rounded, and it's just like a kind of like an initiator, kind of like a controller to some degree, because you can control the space. On defense, this is very helpful. All right, so I'm gonna put her into A tier, but I don't think teams will prioritize her. She is playable. If you're, for example, if you're Paper Rex, you probably play Raze just because you have Jing. Jogomo is probably gonna play Neo, but some teams might have just that kind of Raze specialist that might thrive on this map as well. And the verticality on this map is nothing to be scoffed at. The ability to just be very proactive with the satchels, with mobilities, it's incredibly valuable. The ability to check corners with the boombot, again, same stuff. Although the ultimate is not really that powerful because there are not many choke points. Pain straws are just good overall. So I think she's very playable. The only problem is she doesn't have flashes, right? Now, what else? What do we have? We have Jet. Better than Jet, but not S tier. I think she is the type of agent that just never goes out of fashion. Many teams will have specialists, like CNET has to play her. You cannot essentially have CNET not on Jet, right? But she's gonna be a good operator on this map, which is again incredibly powerful and needed on this map to play good operators, to punish opponents by forcing them to make mistakes, and not like using a lot of util to util dump the operator out of his place. Again, ultimate super valuable, incredibly powerful ability, incredibly powerful because of the updraft dash on towards A side. Updraft B side is also like with the dash is incredibly important. Like, actually overall it is just incredibly versatile, and it's teams are also accustomed to just playing years with Jet. So I think Jet is gonna be an incredibly solid A pick. We're gonna leave it here. Now we have 2 blue agents. Let's talk about the one that I think is gonna be the S tier, and that's gonna be Neon. I think Neon on this map is incredibly valuable because the map is, again, so big. The fuel from Neon is replenishing so fast. You're able to play a rotational role on defense because of that. You're also able to play essentially like a little bit more static operator player because of the dash has like a little bit of delay when you equip the sprint and then dash away and slide away. But you can do that. You can play operator on defense on Neon and don't feel like really like you don't have a lot of utility for repositioning, right? And she's just kind of broken. Not gonna lie. I do think that at pro level, if you have specialists like Miniboo, like Jogamo, who are just gonna absolutely blast people on Neon, you should play Neon. And she just fits for this map as well. The double slide when it comes to doing executes is gonna be nuts. Sliding first, getting this angle, and then sliding second to getting this angle. is nuts. You're gonna be able to do it so fast. The breach is gonna be so helpful, like for you. Like Sky is not good enough for Neon. She's too slow. But breach, the explosiveness of him. If you play Neon breach, it's gonna be so oppressive on this map. It's nuts. Like I absolutely think Neon is gonna be the S tier. And if a team has a specialist who can abuse the power level of Neon, she's gonna be the top tier pick duelist for this map. And now Yoru, my own main. And I'll be honest with you, I might be a little bit biased, but I do think he's S tier. I do think he's incredibly good. I think people are heavily underestimating him again, right? We see a little bit of of rise of popularity of Yoru, which I was trying to convince teams to try out for the past 2 years, but we finally see it this year. Teams are getting better at using him. He has incredible synergy with Fade, has incredible synergy with Breach, has decent synergy with Viper Harbor because of the flashes. Omen is a fantastic pick for him. So he has a lot of potential synergy here, right? So playing a composition like Omen, Fade, Yoru, Neon, right? And then depending if the team wants to say play a second controller or maybe a second initiator or maybe a sentinel, like this is a core. This is a core of any team. Like Omen, Fade, Yoru, or Omen, Yoru, Breach. Those three can build a very solid fundament of a plan on how to play the map. And in a very specific aggressive manner. The ultimate of Yoru is one of the best initiation tools, and because of the utility that can go through walls like the Breach Stun or the Paranoia or Sound Denial with the Fade ultimate, you're able to just always get value out of it, you know, and always like saw chaos in the ranks of the enemy. But again, same as Neon and Yoru require to have specialist players. They need to have hundreds, if not thousands of hours on those agents to feel comfortable on them, to be on the fly efficient, to play them well. Those two agents, they are very, very hard to play efficiently and in a way that doesn't make you look like an ass, because you can get punished a lot. But if you're good at those two agents, then pro teams might actually consider just absolutely playing with those two, because I think those two agents, Neon and Yoru, are the best duelists on this map. Thank you for watching the video. If you would like to consider subscribing and liking the video, that'd be absolutely splendid. Remember about the Elgato link below. And if you have your own tier list or like any comments about my picks and, you know, tell me I'm stupid or I'm an ass or whatever, or tell me, oh, good job, do that in the comments. I'll be happy to answer you and have a discussion with you as well. Till next time, bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed it.